Some crazy news, man. So how the viewership was in this game, man, because she didn't have any Caitlin Clark.
Interest isn't falling off a cliff with Clark on the sideline.
They went from 2.7 with Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese being the featured matchup all the way down to 1.5.
Interest around the Fever remains high. Even with Caitlin Clark sidelined, the number's higher when Caitlin Clark is involved.
Chicago Sky versus the Indiana Fever. No Caitlin Clark has finally been revealed. 1.2 million people said, if it's not Caitlin Clark, I am not watching.
Caitlin Clark just shattered WNBA viewership records without even playing.
The Indiana Fever played the Chicago Sky on Barbie night.
Caitlin Clark took over Chicago. She signed autographs for hours.
Signed over 200 autographs. Was out for a long period of time, signing for fan after fan.
Her impact is so massive, fans are still tuning in just to see her on the sidelines. Comment 100% for Caitlin if you believe she's the reason people are watching the WNBA. Let's break down how she's dominating the league without stepping on the court.
This is the star power. Every city, every state, anywhere in the world that she goes, it's gonna look like pandemonium.
All games with Caitlin Clark do better than all other games.
When Caitlin Clark is on the court, the WNBA becomes must-watch television. The numbers prove it again and again. Take a look. When Clark and Angel Reese first went head-to-head earlier this season, the broadcast pulled 2.7 million viewers.
First time these two teams played this season, they did 2.7 million viewers.
Those games have done the best amongst the regular season games.
A record-smashing performance for the league. That was the magic. That was Caitlin Clark. But what happens when she's not on the court? That same matchup between the Indiana Fever and Chicago Sky, this time without Caitlin Clark or Angel Reese.
The Fever and Sky can still do good numbers without Caitlin Clark and without Angel Reese.
Fell to just 1.5 million viewers.
Nonetheless, 1.5 million viewers for Fever Sky.
The ratings for this past Sunday's game, Chicago Sky versus the Indiana Fever, no Caitlin Clark, no Angel Reese, has finally been revealed. The second time without Caitlin Clark, but a primetime game on CBS. 1.9 million viewers.
That's 1.2 million people who tuned out. That's not a drop. That's a free fall.
They had the biggest chance, and both times she did not play, man. It's crazy.
They went from 2.7 with Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese being the featured matchup all the way down to 1.5.
And yet the league and media spin it as a win. 6th most watched WNBA game ever on ABC.
6th most watched regular season game on ABC ever.
Sure, but it was Clark's name that drew the crowd, even if she wasn't in the game. The viewership was driven by fans hoping she might play, or at least make a courtside appearance. And when she didn't, those numbers still crushed most other matchups.
4th most watched regular season game on ABC this season.
Because her brand is bigger than the game itself. Even ESPN couldn't deny it. Their press release emphasized that WNBA ratings are up,
which is what ESPN is measuring in a press release.
17% on ABC.
Up 17%, my bad, versus last year's ABC's regular season average.
And 6% across ESPN platforms.
WNBA on ESPN up 6% from last season.
But buried in those numbers is one clear truth. Caitlin Clark is the engine. Without her, interest takes a nosedive. Let's be clear. No other player in the WNBA has ever moved the ratings needle like this.
And at the end of the day, it's a business, right? It's a business.
I don't think you can have a more great role model than Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark unlocked millions for the WNBA.
Not in history. The moment Caitlin is out, the magic dips. The viewers disappear.
The number's higher when Caitlin Clark is involved.
The casual fan tunes out. 1.2 million people basically said, no Caitlin, no thanks.
1.2 million people said, if it's not Caitlin Clark, I am not watching.
Oh, if she's off the court, then I'm not viewing it.
She's not just a rookie. She's not just an all-star. She's the WNBA's entire broadcast economy right now.
Interest isn't falling off a cliff with Clark on the sideline.
Caitlin Clark didn't log a single minute on the court, yet somehow she stole the entire spotlight. While sidelined due to injury, she managed to do what most active players can only dream of: command national attention, hijack headlines, and set social media on fire, all from the bench. Let's start with the most telling moment. During a recent Indiana Fever game against the Chicago Sky, Caitlin Clark showed up in street clothes. And despite being ruled out, fans still filled the arena, many traveling hours just for the chance to see her. Not play, just see her.
Maybe some people just want to see what she's doing on the sideline.
People are showing up just to witness Caitlin Clark. It's like she's the damn Beatles.
CC with MJ. CC get treated like MJ in the rack.
That's how magnetic she is. Before tip-off, Caitlin walked the arena and signed over 200 autographs.
Even if Caitlin Clark isn't playing, she's showing up to these games and actually signing autographs and all that good stuff.
Caitlin Clark spent 20 minutes signing autographs. She made her way 2/3 of the arena. She signed literally hundreds of autographs.
She signed autographs for hours. Real people trying to get autographs.
2/3 of the building was lined with fans holding jerseys, balls, posters, anything they could find.
Caitlin Clark spent 20 minutes signing autographs. She made her way 2/3 of the arena.
Hoping to get her signature. Young girls screamed, parents cried, grown men cheered like it was the Super Bowl. She wasn't just being nice. She was putting on a show without a single dribble. In fact, cameras caught her doing what she always does best, entertaining, even from the sidelines.
We talked about the other day in New York, but you just have to appreciate about Caitlin Clark in these games. She knows a huge portion of these fans were hoping to see her play, and obviously they're not getting to. But she goes out of her way to make sure pregame she's signing autograph after autograph. We talked about the other day in New York when it was 108 autographs that she signed.
Laughing with teammates, hyping up plays, interacting with fans. Some people even showed up just to see what she'd do next. Would she joke with the refs again? Wave to the crowd? Throw up a peace sign after a bucket? Think about that. Caitlin Clark has become a draw without touching the basketball. Her energy, her presence, her charisma, it all radiates even while she's in warm-ups. ESPN called her a showman for a reason. She knows the assignment.
She knows what she's doing. She's a showman on top of it.
She knows she's not just a player, she's the face of a movement. And it's not just the in-person fans. Viewers at home tuned in by the millions just in case she might check in.
People didn't know whether or not Caitlin was playing that game until the very end. There are hundreds of fans that were there to see Caitlin Clark.
The WNBA promoted the game like a marquee event without confirming her availability until the very end. Why? Because they know her name drives numbers. The crazy part? She's injured. And yet, she's out there kicking a soccer ball during a charity event.
She's kicking a soccer ball, as you can see here, with her right leg. The injured groin on that right leg.
She's out supporting kids through the Caitlin Clark Foundation, handing out backpacks, shaking hands, creating memories.
Caitlin Clark Foundation, where some kids received backpacks. This was a cool gesture. A bunch of kids getting backpacks from Caitlin.
One viral video captured a group of kids screaming, "She's better than Steph Curry." Another boy said he didn't even get a picture, just a fist bump, and called it the best moment of his life.
She might be better than Steph Curry.
Bro, she's better than Steph Curry. She is. No. Hey,
Better than LeBron?
We love Clark. We love you, Caitlin Clark.
Yes,
Yes.
That's impact. She's creating NBA-level buzz in a league that's long struggled for national relevance. She's trending online while benched. She's being called the Beatles of women's basketball by fans who show up with nothing more than hope she'll appear.
People are showing up just to witness Caitlin Clark. It's like she's the damn Beatles.
There's no other athlete, male or female, doing what Caitlin Clark is doing without playing. This isn't hype. This isn't PR. This is real, tangible, visible fandom erupting across arenas and living rooms alike. The WNBA can try to frame it how they want. But here's the truth. Caitlin Clark is single-handedly keeping the league in the headlines in the algorithms, and in the ratings war, all while sitting on the bench.
People are showing up just to witness Caitlin Clark. It's like she's the damn Beatles.
CC with MJ. CC get treated like MJ in the rack.
The question isn't whether she's the most valuable player. The question is, how long can the WNBA survive if they don't start treating her like it? The WNBA has spent months downplaying Caitlin Clark's impact. Coaches deflect when asked about her. Players throw subtle shade. The media cherry picks narratives to elevate others while ignoring what's unfolding right in front of them. Caitlin Clark is the most important player in the league, and she didn't even need to play to prove it.
The Indiana Fever played the Chicago Sky on Barbie night.
The number's higher when Caitlin Clark is involved. Interest around the Fever remains high. Even with Caitlin Clark sidelined, interest isn't falling off a cliff with Clark on the sideline. The Fever continue to do better than all other teams, even without Caitlin Clark.
Let's break that down. When Caitlin Clark played, the WNBA soared to viewership highs never seen before. We're talking 2.7 million tuning in for a regular season game, something unheard of in the modern era of women's basketball. But when she was benched due to injury, the same game against the same opponent fell to 1.5 million viewers. And that was still enough to be called the 6th most watched WNBA game ever on ABC. So if that's what the league considers a win, it's only because Caitlin's shadow loomed over the entire broadcast.
Does this count as taking over a trap? It's when you walk into your trap and take over.
They promoted her face. They cut to her on the bench. Fans bought tickets just in case she might play. And when she didn't, the numbers dropped by over 1 million. That's not coincidence. That's cause and effect. And still, what do we see? We see Stephanie White, Caitlin's own coach, give more praise to opposing players than to the star carrying her franchise. She went on a full 38-second speech praising a former Fever player's perfect fit in Phoenix. That same coach often gives Caitlin less than 7 seconds of praise before quickly pivoting to someone else.
Interesting.
So well together. And she does a really good job of adding a different dimension with her ability to be that stretch four, to complement, and her and Sachi being able to play on the floor at the same time with AT. She's comfortable there. She's comfortable in that system. It's going to be different to game plan against her. Her and AT both, really honestly. After having been on the sideline with them for a couple of years, it's going to be different to game plan against her. But I'm glad that she's happy, and I'm glad that she's found her spot.
Stephanie White spent more time big upping DB in this 38-second clip than every press conference interview you go to. She spends 7 seconds maximum speaking highly of Caitlin Clark.
Meanwhile, other coaches in the league have no issue calling out snubs, praising their stars unapologetically, and standing up for their own. But when it comes to Caitlin Clark, it's crickets. Or worse, polite indifference. Why? Because acknowledging her impact means admitting she's outshining the league's veterans. It means letting go of the false idea that the WNBA was just fine before she arrived. And it forces them to confront the reality that this 22-year-old rookie, barely halfway through her first season,
Caitlin Clark, while she's got a break from the action, doesn't get a break from the autographs.
The fans standing there, she signed autographs for like 2-3 hours.
Caitlin Clark spent 20 minutes signing autographs. She made her way 2/3 of the arena. She signed literally hundreds of autographs.
She signed autographs for hours. Real people trying to get autographs.
is already the face of the league. Not just a face, the face. That's hard to swallow for people who've been in the league for years and never generated this kind of attention. It's why fans online say things like, "I'm not watching if she's not playing," because Caitlin Clark is why they showed up in the first place. She's the bridge between casual fans and a league that has long struggled to connect with the mainstream.
Yes, Caitlin Clark brought me here. She brought me back.
And that makes some people, players, coaches, media heads, uncomfortable. But here's the twist. Her spotlight is lifting everyone else. Look at Sophie Cunningham. Going viral, getting wrestling offers, being called Caitlin's enforcer.
Somebody who has benefited immensely from Caitlin Clark and being on the Fever is Sophie Cunningham. Her moment throwing J.C. Sheldon to the floor goes viral. Sophie being Caitlin Clark's enforcer, the Marty McSorley to Wayne Gretzky, and being a stunning athlete, keeping Caitlin Clark safe on the court.
And becoming a household name. Kelsey Mitchell, a certified hooper, is finally getting the attention she's long deserved.
So many more people are now appreciating Kelsey Mitchell's game.
Even WNBA broadcasts like Countdown on ABC are up 9% in viewership.
WNBA Countdown up 9% versus last year's ABC regular season average.
The Fever's games are leading TV ratings week after week, and Caitlin Clark is the common denominator. Even when injured, she's still front and center. Whether she's handing out backpacks to kids for her foundation, signing 200-plus autographs in the arena, or, yes, kicking a soccer ball on her recovering leg, the camera finds her. The crowd cheers for her. The headlines revolve around her. She didn't ask to be the face of the league, but she became it by force, through talent, humility, and connection with fans.
Sophie's spunk, her energy, her willingness to stand up for Caitlin Clark.
She understands the responsibility.
She understands the responsibility of being the face of the league.
She shows up, smiles, and signs for hours because she knows what's at stake.
Understands kind of the responsibility she has and loves helping grow the game in that way.
Not just for herself, but for the future of women's basketball. Meanwhile, what is the WNBA doing? Missing the moment. They want her viewership, but not her voice. They want her popularity, but not her personality. They want her success, but not the disruption that comes with it. This is not just a sports story. It's a cultural shift.
Some crazy news, man. How the viewership was in this game, man, because she didn't have any Caitlin Clark.
Chicago Sky versus the Indiana Fever. No Caitlin Clark, no Angel Reese has finally been revealed. 1.2 million people said, if it's not Caitlin Clark, I am not watching. They went from 2.7 with Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese being the featured matchup all the way down to 1.5.
And the league is terrified because once you admit Caitlin Clark is the reason people are watching, you have to start treating her like it. That means protecting her, promoting her, supporting her. And that also means rebuilding the league around her, not forcing her to conform to old standards that failed to grow the game in the first place. And let's be real, you can't bury this anymore. Not when millions are watching her, even when she doesn't play. Not when fans flood arenas just to glimpse her warming up. Not when her name alone trends higher than the game's final score. The WNBA doesn't have a Caitlin Clark problem. It has a Caitlin Clark dependency. And the sooner they embrace that, the brighter the future will be.
Give Caitlin Clark all the mouth sauce she want. She running Chicago, the queen of the rack. Because it looked like Caitlin Clark went to Chicago and took the city over. It looked like she took the city over.
I think so. I mean, I think it's hard not to when you don't get a lot of rest and recovery. I always think the WNBA season is like this sprint marathon. And you see more injuries when you don't have a chance to recover. But it's not like, individual teams are the only ones that deal with it. This is a league-wide collective issue. So, and I also think, you see the NBA, for example, has a similar cadence, but they've got 30 teams and they're not quite as much crisscrossing time zones, crisscrossing the country. So it's the challenge of the footprint of our schedule, no doubt.
So let's make it plain. Caitlin Clark is the WNBA's biggest star, even when she's not playing.
They've been managing Caitlin Clark. They've been managing the team. But I still have faith in the team. No lie, I have faith in the team.
The fans know it. The numbers prove it. And no matter how much the league tries to spread the spotlight, it always comes back to her. She's redefining what it means to be a game changer. From the bench, from the crowd, from the culture. And if this is what she's doing while injured, imagine what happens when she's back at full strength.
Fever continue to win games and are able to win games without Clark now.
If you're still riding with Caitlin Clark, if you know she's the reason millions are watching, drop 100% for Caitlin in the comments. Because whether they admit it or not, this league runs through her now.
The hype is no longer just noise. It's real, measurable, and growing.
Caitlin Clark, in general, so popular.
Clark has firmly established herself as the biggest name in the WNBA.
Caitlin Clark, she's going to play for 10 years. You got 10 years of price. This is the worst she's ever going to be. So I think they have all the leverage, or most of the leverage.